around 2022, I remember I was in the office of our HR person, and her and I talked all the time. And I was like, there's going to be something more to life than this. Like, what do we do? Like, we don't really make anyone's lives better or do anything. Like, for me personally, that's how I felt. I felt like I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing. And for some people, they found fulfillment in doing, the legal career. And that was great. And I'm more power to them. For me, I wasn't finding that. What I found most fulfilling was I had a team report to me, and I loved helping them figure out what they wanted to do with their career. Like, what experiences I can get them within the legal department or outside the legal department. Who can I connect them with? Like, what do they want to do in 5 years or 10 years? I loved that work. I loved being support for them, but I didn't like the lawyering component anymore, especially at the level I was at. Early on in my career, I started questioning, like, what do I really do for a living? Because I went to law school with the idea to, help people. And all I felt like I was doing was, shifting money from one entity to a person or to somebody else. I wasn't really helping anyone. But then I had twins, and, my thought about what I want to do with my life kind of went out the window. I, was worried about being a mother and then just doing the career I wanted to do. I'm going to quit as soon as I vest. I got to wait till March so I vest and I get my bonus, and then I'm going to quit. And then that would happen, and I would be like, well, now it's May, so I only have to stay another 10 months. Yeah. And you can make any reason to stay financially. When you meet with a planner and you figure out what is it you actually do need, do you really need to vest? Do you really need to do this? You'd be surprised. I mean, there are ways to come up with plans that you can still be successful.
Hi, and welcome back to the Will Podcast. Today, I am extremely delighted to share with you an excerpt from the Alternative Careers panel I held on May 14th, 2026. During that panel, 3 Will alumni generously, and I mean generously, shared their stories of going from extremely unhappy, either in-house as a Big Law associate or as a Big Law partner, to radically changing their careers and lives. So let me just name them and say thank you to them. So that was Sarah Burke, Meredith Eng, and Pam Richardson. So in this excerpt, Pam Richardson shares her story. She was in-house counsel. She was a single mom, and she has since transitioned into becoming a business and leadership coach, and also helps people, guess what, through career changes. So you will hear Pam's whole story. And one of the things that I loved about it was when she shared how she felt like she was sitting there with her arms folded, and she was super skeptical, and she felt like she was acting like a brat. I did not experience her that way. While she was inside of Will, she experienced herself that way. And one of the other really important things with this panel was that each of the women were either single or going through a divorce. Sarah was going through a divorce at the time. Meredith was single and did a self-funded sabbatical. And Pam, as I mentioned already, was a single mom of twins who were young. I think when we started, they were 11. And I think they're 14 now. So I chose these women especially because often it's very common to have a story inside our head that I can't make this change because I'm the bread earner in my family, or if someone else has a rich husband who's going to help them through this. So have a listen, and you'll hear Pam's story. And then if you want to hear the whole panel discussion, go to womeninterestedinleavinglaw.com, and you will see a button where you can watch the Alternative Careers panel. So you can see the whole thing and just hear Sarah and Meredith share their stories also so generously. Okay, without further ado, here is my conversation with Pam Richardson. So Pam Richardson, so after 20 years as an attorney and in-house executive advising leaders at Fortune 1000 and Global 500 companies, Pam decided to step away from the practice of law and focus fully on the work she finds most meaningful, partnering directly with people as they navigate growth, change, and leadership challenges. She founded Waypoint Partners, where she works with organizations and individuals at all stages of their career. So big welcome, Pam.
Thank you, Elena. Very happy to be here.
I'm so happy. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. So why don't you kick us off with sharing briefly where you were in your career when we first met?
Like someone actually put in the post, I was a labor and employment attorney by trade. I have been practicing since 2003. When I met Elena, I was in-house. I was at an executive level role, in-house counsel. I ran the labor and employment group, the cyber group, the contracting group, and privacy group at my organization.
Wow. So that's a lot. Yeah.
It was.
And so that's what you were doing. And how were you feeling in your work and in your life?
Early on in my career, I started questioning, like, what do I really do for a living? Because I went to law school with the idea to like help people, and all I felt like I was doing was like shifting money from one entity to a person or to somebody else. Like I wasn't really helping anyone, but then I had twins, and like my thought about what I want to do with my life kind of went out the window. I was worried about being a mother and then just doing the career I wanted to do. But then around 2022, I remember I was in the office of our HR person, and her and I talked all the time, and I was like, there's going to be something more to life than this. Like, what do we do? Like, we don't really make anyone's lives better or do anything. Like, for me personally, that's how I felt. I felt like I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing. And for some people, they found fulfillment in doing, the legal career. And that was great, and more power to them. For me, I wasn't finding that. What I found most fulfilling was I had a team report to me, and I loved helping them figure out what they wanted to do with their career. Like what experiences I can get them within the legal department or outside the legal department. Who can I cook them with? Like, what do they want to do in 5 years or 10 years? I loved that work. I loved being support for them, but I didn't like the lawyering component anymore, especially at the level I was at.
And so when we met, you were kind of having that, is this all there is?
Yeah.
There's got to be more. And you were having the realization, like, I love doing the people part, the team and the leadership and helping people elevate and thrive. And you were also, when we met, if it's okay to share, like a single mom, right? At that point. And so
Yes.
like, how long ago was that also?
My husband and I were divorced in 2018. And then beginning in 2020, I had the kids to myself.
We met, it was like, I think it was 2022 or 2020, early 2023.
Yeah.
Right. And I share that because I think a lot of people have this story of like, I can't make a pivot because I have kids, because I'm a single parent, because I'm fully responsible.
I said those words to you, Elena. I feel like I was such a brat when I first started coaching. I was like, sit there like this. Like, so people who are married to rich husbands, they can do this, but like, how can I do that? Or, they don't have all these responsibilities. Like, I was very closed off in trying to figure out possibilities.
I think that takes us into mindset. I don't remember that. I did not think that about you.
I cringe when I look back sometimes.
Okay. Well, look, like we're all changing. This is an invitation for everyone here to like make note of their mindset. Notice how Pam shared a story. And so like, I really hope you'll be taking some notes during this, everyone participating or watching the recording. Like, what's your mindset? What's that story? Pam's story was like, everyone has a rich husband who can help them through this transition. I don't have that. When you did decide to join Will, though, what were your motivations and intentions?
I was very curious to see these ideas come up or webinars come up and about alternate careers. And I signed up, but didn't go and never listened to recordings. And something really drew me to this one. And I went to it because I was finally in the mindset of not only was I having stress at work by the actual work themselves and not feeling fulfilled, there was a lot of stress going on in like the internal office politics that were making me very unhappy at the office. And I knew there had to be a change.
What was it that made you say yes to like a coaching program? You were curious and you're skeptical at the same time, which is really normal.
Sure. And I don't know anyone's position in life, but I was first generation attorney in my family. I didn't even know what other careers were possible out there. My parents were social workers. And so I didn't have anyone to talk to about what I could even do and even think about what was possible with my skill sets. I mean, I am confident, like I know I'm an intelligent person and I can do a lot of things. I don't know what that meant though. Like, what do you do with that?
So you're willing to kind of figure it out. And then when you came into Will, you said you came in with this mindset. We start with mindset and strategy. And that's one of the promises of this panel that I wanted to talk about, is because you can get strategy from ChatGPT all day long, right? You can get strategy from AI. And you probably can get some mindset support around from chat also, right? A lot of people are using it that way, which is great. For you, what were some of those mindset shifts that helped you start to see things differently?
I think I'm going to answer this two ways. I think the difference between going through a program like the program that you offer was I was actually going through and made me think about things. And then when I spoke with a human, a coach, you feel that connection with someone who can truly actually help you more than just at a superficial level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's really what started changing the mindset, because I remember feeling like some of the possibilities of my future career weren't attainable. They were attainable for other people, but they weren't for me. But my coach stuck with me on that and really challenged me on that. And I think that's really important. Coaching and programs are not like silver bullets. Like, you're not just going to be in one and you're going to press the change-o, like be exactly where you want to be, unless you're in a position that's unusual. But it's work, and it's self-work a lot. And for me, it wasn't an overnight thing. I just recently left in April of 2026. So I think most lawyers are risk adverse in general. I came up with a plan. I came up with an idea, and I executed on that plan over a period of time with the help that I received through coaching to keep me accountable, to keep me on track.
That's so beautiful. I understand it was part of the human interaction. Your coach stuck with you. But do you remember, was there a mindset shift that was like, oh, wait a second, I could do this?
I will say that. I mean, I think it started opening me up to that there were possibilities. And I don't think that can be understated. Meaning, like, when you're in it and you're in the thick of it, you really don't see possibilities. You just see more of the same. And the possibilities you envision, it's like you almost put negative connotations automatically in them. Like, oh, well, I could just go to another firm, but what if the person there sucks? Just so you can keep yourself safe in the role that you're in and you don't do the changes and the transformation. So that was really, I think, the biggest change is I started to think about possibilities. And when you start opening up yourself to possibilities, I wound up meeting randomly two coaches, one who lives close to me, so she's not in a major city, wildly successful. Another person who I met and who I connected with. I don't think I would have met those people naturally if I wasn't starting to let myself open up.
Yes.
So that was the biggest change.
I get chills. So Pam and the other one was like, no, when I get chills, it means like you've hit on like some truth. So, and I didn't even know that. Like, you met a coach in your community who was wildly successful. You were like, holy F, I can make money doing this.
Yes. Because there is a concern about making a financial income. Like, it's not all like rainbows and unicorns. For some people that have to have a certain amount of income. And that was what always held me back, was this belief that I would never make that same amount of income doing anything else. So I had to stick with it. And I think once you start and you break out of that mindset, you just explore a little bit, it goes so far.
I love it. I love it. So Pam just recently left her job. It took, like you said, a few years of like starting to do coaching programs and get training. And so financially, you've just made a big leap. Probably don't expect to replace your corporate income like this first 6 months or year. I mean, God willing, I hope you do. Just generally, if you're like, however, to your comfort level, like, share about the finances, share how you've planned financially for this, because it's such a big barrier for people.
It is. For me, again, I am pretty risk adverse when it comes to finances, especially where my kids are concerned. They're now 14. And I met with a planner and I went through everything that I needed to go through. You know, I know what my runway is and, you know, what my projections are. I did a lot of planning and foundational work in order to make this happen. And that's why it took a little longer. It's so funny, when I was working at the organization prior to all this, in my head, I was like, I'm going to quit as soon as I vest. I got to wait till March so I vest and I get my bonus and then I'm going to quit. And then that would happen. And I would be like, well, now it's May. So I only have to stay another 10 months. And like, you can make any reason to stay financially. And when you meet with a planner and you figure out what is it you actually do need, do you really need to vest? Do you really need to do this? You'd be surprised. I mean, there are ways to come up with plans that you can still be successful.
Thank you so much for sharing all that. And I love that you just said that, because I've heard it hundreds of times, literally. Like, well, it's already June, it's May, so it's almost already June. So then it's 6 months, and then it's, and then you stay another year and another year and another year. What would you suggest? What guidance would you offer a lawyer who wanted to explore moving into an alternative career?
I think it's just start the exploration. It gets so important. You have nothing to lose. I mean, just going out and seeing what's possible, just taking some time for yourself, like investing in yourself. We don't invest in ourselves enough. Invest in yourself. Invest what's going on up here and what's going on in here and what can be your future. What can it look like? There's really no harm in it. And there's only, to me, an upside in starting the exploration.
I love it. I love it. So good. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Will Podcast. If you liked what you heard, please rate, review, and share it with another woman lawyer in your life. If you are curious to explore your next steps, you're invited to book a private confidential consultation. And here's a special link we've set up just for podcast listeners. Go to consultation.womeninterestedinleavinglaw.com. Again, that is consultation.womeninterestedinleavinglaw, all one word.com, to schedule your confidential consultation today. Where there's a will, there's a way. Let's get you on your next step way today.